slipping through the cracks due to broadcast rights and negotiation issues.
This is the damn problem with boxing, okay? The fact of the matter is Ryan Garcia is undefeated. Gervonta Davis is undefeated. They're both knockout artists. Why the hell are we not getting these fights?
Why is that fight against Tank Davis so important to you?
Because that's going to give me the respect I deserve. And I'm never afraid. I'm trying to tell you that I have a spirit of competition in me, and you're going to see that come out when I fight Tank and whoop his ass.
What would you like to do next? There's Ryan Garcia. He's in the crowd here this evening.
I'm here, baby. I'm here. What they want to do, I'm here, baby.
What would you say to the people, Ryan, that say, look, different networks, different promoters, no way a fight with Tank Davis can get done?
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Ain't no safety on this Glock, you know? Ain't no safety on this Glock. And I got a lot of ammunition.
It's happening. It's really happening. Saturday, April 22nd, Showtime pay-per-view. Gervonta Tank Davis, King Ryan Garcia. Two unbeaten stars will square off.
Talk about a contrast of styles.
Two boxers whose time has come.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come.
Ready for the destinies. Two fighters. One opportunity for supremacy.
I'm going to walk you to the deep waters and I'm going to drown you.
For the crown.
He doesn't have the heart of the champion.
Two warriors. Raising the stakes. Raising the game. Raising the drama.
It is over! Now we're going to see what this kick made of.
This is it. April 22nd. Destinies will be written. Tick. Tock. Time's up.
You are listening to The Fight Show here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. You can follow the Sports Gambling Podcast Network on Twitter at the SGP Network. That's at the SGP Network. You can follow me on a couple of Twitter accounts. First of all, I am the host of the Soccer Gambling Podcast. Therefore, you can follow me at SGP Soccer. That's at SGP Soccer. You can also follow me at lockbetting.com. That is at lockbetting.com. That is the Twitter account where I tweet about all other sports that are not soccer. So you'll get free picks from me on the soccer account and free picks from other sports via the at lockbetting Twitter. If you also look at the top of the at lockbetting.com Twitter, you will see the pinned tweet. It's always my P&L spreadsheet from the previous month. So I give out my picks via my service lockbetting.com, and lockbetting.com has now delivered 118 months in a row of transparent track profit. The pinned tweet is just the P&L from the previous month. All of the other spreadsheets are posted on the lockbetting.com site. So if you're interested in signing up for the service, all the information is available at lockbetting.com. The same handle at lockbetting.com that we use for Twitter is the same handle that we use for the TikTok account. The TikTok is great. We post 30 to 45 second easily digestible videos, and you can use those to pick out some betting winners. So hopefully we can pick the winner here of this fight, which for me is a genuine 50-50. So already off the bat, automatically, you are looking for some value in the underdog when the underdog for this fight is available for you at 2-1 plus 200. Before we actually look at the odds and the breakdown, let me just say how great it is and how refreshing it is that in 2023, we are actually getting this fight between two fighters who are at the top of their career, at the top of their divisions, are boxing under different networks, boxing under different promoters, a difficult fight to do, but ultimately we are getting it done for the sake of boxing. A lot of other fighters, I'm talking about Crawford and Spence, I'm talking about Fury and Usyk. I'm talking about the issues that stopped us from getting Pacquiao versus Mayweather when we should have got Pacquiao versus Mayweather 5 or 6 years earlier. This one is happening whilst both men are in their absolute prime. At 24 and at 28 years of age, they are putting their zeros on the line for this mega fight tonight, which in my opinion is the biggest fight of the year. And unless something spectacular is made later on down the year, they are talking about a big event in Saudi where Tyson Fury will fight Usyk and Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua will actually fight on the undercard. Unless that super heavyweight card gets made in Saudi, then for me, this will be the fight of the year up until this point and will remain the fight of the year throughout the rest of the year. So let's move on to breaking down the odds. Before we do that, let me quickly tell you that we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA and NHL playoffs are here, and what better way to get down on some player prop parlays than over at Underdog Fantasy. Besides daily NHL, NBA and MLB games, they have also already got NFL best ball drafts with $500,000 guaranteed in prizes. Head over to underdogfantasy.com and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com and the promo code SGPN. Now, it's a shame that our schedules couldn't tie up and come together because Jeff Cohen, our boxing expert, our resident boxing expert that often comes on with me, was wanting to come on and do this show with me. But I did speak to Jeff briefly on the phone last night, and we kind of have the same opinion as to how this fight may play out. Gervonta Tank Davis is the favourite to win it. He's currently available at 2-5. So he is the clear favourite to win it at those odds. It's 16-1 on the draw, with Ryan Garcia here available at the price of 11-5. The method of victory market here sees Tank Davis at 4-6, -150 to land the shot that will provide him with the TKO victory in this fight. He is available at 5-1 via a decision. Garcia, he's at 3-1 via the TKO method. And he is also 5-1 to get it done via a decision. The over-under markets here for this fight, I'll start it at 8 rounds. Under 8 rounds is available at 11-10. And 8th round or over is at 4-6 -150. This means that the 8th round has to start. So if you can navigate 7 rounds of this fight, which is 21 minutes of what will be ferocious competitive boxing, and you can navigate those 21 minutes and round 8 starts, you do cash this selection. Under 9 rounds is at 4-5. 9th round or over is at 10-11, which means the 9th needs to start. Under 10 rounds is at 8-13. 10th round or over is at 6-5. Under 11 rounds is at 4-9. 11th round or over is at 13-8. The fight to go the distance is at 5-2 plus 250. And the fight not to go the distance, so fight to go the distance no, is at 2-7, which is -350. The double chance market here for this fight sees Gervonta Davis in rounds 1-6 or via points at 11-10. Gervonta Davis in rounds 7-12 or via points, also 11-10. Ryan Garcia in rounds 1-6 or via points at 3-1. And Ryan Garcia in rounds 7-12 or via points, also at 3-1. If I want to bet on Davis, I think I would probably go down that double chance route of Davis 7-12 or to get it done on the scorecards. Now, a lot of people are saying that if both men are left standing, they would expect Ryan Garcia to get his hand raised. Obviously, he is the more active fighter. He brings the speed, he brings the reach to this fight. And the general consensus is that if it does get to the scorecards, Ryan Garcia should be ahead. But I don't completely agree 100% with that analysis, because if anybody's going to get dropped in this fight, that power is going to come from Gervonta Davis. Therefore, in my opinion, there is a way where if Gervonta Davis could land a knockdown, maybe even 2 knockdowns during this fight, that will give him a couple of 10-8 rounds on the scorecard. So even if Ryan Garcia is dancing around, he is utilising his speed, he is utilising his reach, it's very, very difficult to overcome 2 knockdowns in any fight. It's even difficult to overcome 1, because automatically a 10-8 is the equivalent of winning 2 rounds in a boxing match. So that's a huge advantage for Gervonta Davis. There may also be rounds where he doesn't knock down Ryan Garcia, but does more damage and does land more significant shots whilst not throwing as many shots as Ryan Garcia. Now, in recent fights, Gervonta Davis has become very reliant on that power and that one-punch knockout power to end fights. So you can understand the narrative that if Ryan Garcia does make it through to the final bell, that many people do believe he gets his hand raised. But maybe a better way of betting Garcia would be to take this option of Garcia in rounds 7-12 or via points at 3-1, rather than just taking him on points here at 5-1 or via decision, simply because there is a possibility that either one of these 2 men could knock out each other late in the round. I think late in the fight, I think Ryan Garcia's knockout power is being overlooked. I think in general, Garcia is being overlooked in this fight. I don't think I myself would have priced it up like this. I do think it's a lot closer than the bookies have it. Obviously, a lot of people are pumped to see the fight. The odds here are a lot closer than you would usually get for big fights, or at least perceived big fights at the moment, because we see fights with a lot of hype. We see people talking up fights. We see TV companies and promoters talking up fights. And then as betting people, we then go to bet the fight and we see the favourite minus 500, minus 600, minus 700. And we know that it really isn't as close a fight as the hype does indicate. This isn't the case here. Obviously, things could be a lot closer, but that's not to say that the bookies are always correct and they have it right. I would have this far closer. With the knockout power that he brings and with the opponents that he has on his resume, Gervonta Davis should be the favourite. But I would have it a lot closer than this. I would be making Gervonta Davis around about a 4-6 minus 150 favourite, rather than being the wrong side of minus 200, which is what he is. And he was coming in a little bit closer. There was some money here for Garcia, but as we approach fight day, Gervonta Davis is again moving in the opposite direction, where he could start the fight as a 1-3 minus 300 favourite. Now, I don't want to undermine Garcia's victories either. As I said, there is a casual narrative out there that Tank Davis will win this fight easily because Garcia is seen as a social media boxer. But there's just no way that hand speed isn't going to bother Tank. And I don't see Tank coming out swinging either. I can see Tank sitting in the pocket and perhaps letting the first 2 or 3 rounds slide and seeing exactly what Garcia has to offer, and knowing that he has that knockout power that he's relied on, that he can use in the later rounds. Because even if you let 2 or 3 rounds go by, you still then have 9 rounds of the fight, which is 27 minutes to land the significant shot that you probably believe will put Garcia down. But Garcia is unquestionably a battle-tested fighter. You can't say he's not battle-tested when Luke Campbell put him down and King Garcia got up, responded, and got the victory. I think my big question here tonight is, how will Tank Davis react if the fight does get to the late championship rounds? Garcia has been in those rounds before. I can see him stealing some of the later rounds. I can see him taking rounds at the start of the fight as well, because Tank Davis is likely to sit in and see what Garcia has to offer, and will probably believe that he doesn't need to engage in a technical boxing match, because if he does land on the chin, then he feels like he will win. I mean, he's literally said that in all the press conferences. He's been talking about, I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to land on your chin. I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to land on your chin. Whilst Garcia actually referenced the fact that obviously went back and forth and said that he was going to knock him out. But he said, you look small now. You look small now. You don't look the same now, because of obviously the fact that we are fighting at this catch weight in order to make this fight happen. And I think the fighters, despite the fact that they have mentioned it, and there's been a lot of talk about that this week in terms of rehydration clauses and all things of that nature, the fact that we even got here, I'm not going to be hung up on that stuff. I'm not hung up on the 136-pound catch. I'm not hung up on the rehydration clause. I don't care about the late afternoon weigh-in, and that isn't even particularly unusual for a big fight in Vegas. I just don't think that will factor in. For me, as I said, it's a relatively even fight. I don't think the odds reflect how the fight should be priced up. I think Garcia can win. I think there's a definitive route to victory, which is what you're looking for when you want to back an underdog. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got a height advantage, and he's a major threat to Davis, far more than anyone Davis has fought so far. Now, Davis, it looks like he will be missing some of his career in the immediate future, because obviously he has that sentencing coming up for the hit and run incident where he injured 4 people in a hit and run and drove off. It looked like he was going to get away with a lenient sentence, but a woman who was involved in it, who was pregnant at the time, pleaded with the judge to not give him a lighter and lenient sentence. I mean, come on, like if that was any of us and we'd hit 4 people in a hit and run and one was a pregnant woman and she'd made a plea, we'd be inside. We certainly wouldn't be having multi-billion-pound boxing matches on a Saturday night. But that's what Gervonta Davis has been allowed to do. His sentencing has been suspended, and 3 weeks after he sees the final bell of this fight, he will be sentenced and could potentially face some jail time. I don't think he will, but I do think he'll miss a period of his career. And I certainly think that has to be a distraction in this fight. How can you go into the biggest fight of your life against your most challenging opponent knowing you could potentially be facing jail in 3 weeks' time? I don't know how you do it. I don't think I'd be able to do it, but at the same time, I wouldn't do a hit and run on 4 people and drive off, especially if one of the people are pregnant. And I think that was the main thing that stopped the judge from taking the lighter plea, when the woman turned around and said that he looked in the window and saw that she was pregnant, and she claims that she was telling him she was pregnant and asking for his help, and he still drove off. So I think, if anything, that makes you want to bet on Garcia and makes you a Garcia supporter for this fight. So before we actually make a pick here for the fight, before we pick out some selections in terms of how we're actually going to bet this, let me tell you guys about the SGPN merch store. We're brought to you by the SGPN merch store in honor of the NBA playoffs. From now until April, you can get 10% off anything in the SGPN merch store when you use the promo code SGPNBA. Head over to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com and use the promo code SGPNBA to get 10% off everything. Now, I've just come back from LA, picked up a big bag of stuff, big box of stuff, took it home in my bag, and it was my SGP merch. Picked up my backpack, which isn't available yet on the website, and picked up a load of goodies for the Soccer Gambling Podcast. Picked up a cap from the SGPN, Soccer Gambling Podcast t-shirts, Soccer Gambling Podcast hoodies, and I won't just be wearing those on YouTube. I wear them all the time. I wear them to the gym. I wear them out and about. They are comfortable items. They're made by top manufacturers. My cap that I'm wearing right now actually is made by Richardson. So I could not recommend this stuff enough. So if you want to support your favourite podcast on the SGPN, hopefully the Soccer Gambling Podcast, head over to the website I just mentioned. It's store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com and take advantage of 10% off by using that promo code SGPNBA.
There's a reason that boxing is perhaps the most primal endeavor on earth. Because in this sport, the truth hurts is more than a cliche.
You ready?
And that, right there, is what separates the sweet science, the discerning, the difference between real and not. made clear only by violence.
I feel like it's the most truthful sport in the world. You can't lie. I mean, you can lie, but it's going to be exposed in the ring. On my way to becoming the truest version of myself.
You want to show that you are who you say you are. A lot of people that's fighting that's not really who they say they are.
On Saturday, April 22nd, both can already claim elite status. But the real one, the better than elite one, must do more than claim. That one must triumph.
I gotta outwork this man. Praise the Lord. My moment's here.
In order to become the next face of boxing, he must prove himself better than someone already considered a superstar of the sport.
April the 22nd, he's going to find out that I'm who I say I am.
How's that for real? Real risk. Real close. Real dangerous. But the real truth, only one can be right. On Saturday, April 22nd, Gervonta Tank Davis will meet King Ryan Garcia, only on pay-per-view.
Yeah, we are getting close to fight time. It'll be taking place in around about 12 hours time from when we are recording this show. So let's make some picks for the big fight. For me, I have to be taking Ryan Garcia as an underdog. That's how I'm going to be betting this fight. But I will also be covering my back because obviously there's a lot of money to be won. Taking a 1-unit play on an 11-5 underdog does give you £220 or $220 of profit. So we can hedge some of that off. My hedge would be on Gervonta Tank Davis to finish the fight within rounds 7 to 12. That would be my hedge here. That's in the group rounds market. We didn't cover that when we were breaking down the fight. We did focus primarily on the double chance market, but you can also bet on the group rounds. There are various ones available. You can bet Gervonta Davis rounds 1 to 3, rounds 4 to 6, rounds 7 to 9, rounds 10 to 12. They're the smallest ones. You can also go 1 to 4, 5 to 8, and 9 to 12. I was tempted by 9 to 12. It is at the bigger price, but I've decided to play it safer and go with the 7 to 12 here, which is also available at 5 to 2. So that's the way I'm going to be betting this fight. It's going to be Gervonta Davis as a hedge in rounds 7 to 12 at 5 to 2 with a play on Ryan Garcia to win the fight at 11 to 5. If you shop around, especially on the exchanges, you can also find Ryan Garcia at 5 to 2 as well. So you could have yourself two 5 to 2 selections. My hedge play is going to be for a smaller stake than my main play. So I'd be looking to hedge 0.6 units on the hedge play with a 1-unit play on Ryan Garcia to get the win at the widely available price of 11 to 5. As I said, I think there's too much value here. Do I actually think, gun to my head, that Ryan Garcia wins this fight? Can I make a clear narrative here and say the bookies have 100% made a mistake and the wrong fighter's favourite and this is why he wins and this is how he wins? No, I'm not doing that. I'm saying that the fight is a lot closer than the odds and the value lies with Garcia. Garcia has shown that he can win this fight. He has the tools to win this fight. He has the height. He has the speed. He has the reach. He has the wins on his resume. Although Davis has the better wins on his resume, he is 4 years older than Garcia. He also doesn't have the distraction of potentially going to jail in 3 weeks. So with all that said, that's how I'm going to be betting this fight. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always. And thanks for listening.